Okay, welcome back. So now we're going to continue working on our weapon for our game, and this time we're going to get into sound. We are going to get a little bit into Unreal Engine and just some minor stuff inside of getting the sound set up, but the biggest part of this is actually going out and locating the sound of a machine gun that we might want to use. So again, this is several videos into the series, and if you're interested in getting caught up, you can go to my YouTube channel right here and subscribe so that you can keep up with the videos that are coming out as they come out. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with getting our sound and everything like that working. So let me go ahead and jump out of this real quick. Okay, and so let's see here. First, a few things about sound. One of the things we're going to end up using is right here. We're going to use Audacity, and the reason why I'm using it is because it's free. If you have other sound editing systems, you can certainly use that, especially if you're more familiar and comfortable with them. I have to admit I use some other ones as well. Audacity I'm kind of new to, but all I'm doing is just going to cut down some sound inside of Audacity. The next thing is trying to find a sound that you like, and as you can see here in my tabs, I've got a couple here. Sound Bible is a good site you can go to. It's free to download. I believe everything that they have on here. I haven't looked to see if there's anything that they charge for, but just about everything I've ever needed is free. Now, free also means that it comes with some attribution licensing. So attribution 3.0, in other words, if you're going to use somebody else's sound off of here, you need to mention them, and you can usually just put their name in, or you can put a link into the sound. They even provide inside of this one, I believe, a link for you to use. And then there's another site called freesound.org. It's freesound without an S, .org. And then on this one, you can this one will require you to register, whereas Sound Bible doesn't. I don't believe it does. And then once you're registered, you can go ahead and start looking for sounds inside of here. And I like the format of this one a little bit better, but they don't always have all the sounds you're looking for. They do have some nice ones that will work. And actually, I think for this one, I did use a sound off of here. So, the first sound I'm going to find is machine gun, and put that in the wrong spot. We don't want to search the entire internet for that. We want to search this site. So I want a machine gun sound, and you can put in gun sounds and things like that. And there are quite a few different sounds in here. These are in WAV and MP3 formats, so keep that in mind. But once we get it into Audacity, we will convert it to an OGG anyway. We normally want to use an MP3 or OGG inside of our games because they're smaller in file size. Waves are pretty big, so just keep that in mind as you're working through and trying to find these. Now, you can go through, you can listen to different sounds, try to find them, and let's see here. I have found already a machine gun sound that I liked right here, and this one right here will work pretty well. And I am going to go ahead and use this one. It's 2 seconds long. That's one of the things about this one. I did find another one that I liked really well here, and you can use any of these sounds. There are some of them, what machine gun sounds here on this site here had quite a few, but on free sound there are hundreds, so you could spend hours digging through trying to find all the different sounds that you like. This site's running a little slow today. It's on my internet. The one I found that I think will work pretty well. If you don't want to go through the editing and cutting piece of it, you can certainly use this other one instead. If it ever loads, it's That's what I get for moving away from it. Okay, hold on, there we go. And some of these have like starting and stopping sounds. We don't really want to do that. We want a nice solid sound through. So this one right here, this 8-bit machine gun, they sounded pretty good. And you can click on them and sample them, and then you can click on them and check them out. All right, there we go. Of course, you have to log in to download it. These are under Creative Commons, so again, it's an attribution license. It's free to use as long as you give them the attribute to the creator, and in this case, it's this person. So just some things to keep in mind if you're going to sell these commercially. For using on personal projects, learning and tutorials like this, you don't need to. But certainly, I will provide these links inside of the on my YouTube channel for this, so that you can find these particular sounds if you want to use them specifically, but also to give them credit for their work. All right, so let me go ahead and get started here. Okay, so let's go ahead and first open up Audacity. So you can, like I said, you can go to the website here, Audacity, and download it. And then once you download it, it looks like this. And it's pretty simple. Actually, there's a lot to it, so I'm not sure it's really all that simple. But the process we're going to do should be real simple. I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to import some audio. And this is the machine gun sound I downloaded from the website. And what I'm trying to do here is, so this is 2 seconds long. There are other ones that are there on Sound Bible and also on Freesound that are much shorter. They're 0.4, so 0.4 of a second or less. And they'll work really well. 2 seconds, because we're going to set this up as a loop. 2 seconds, you can push the button and it'll play for 2 seconds no matter what. We don't really want to have that. We want it to be a little bit more realistic in length. But also I want to have a little bit of variation. I'm going to actually take this 2 seconds. I'm going to cut 3 chunks out of this and use those to be able to put into Unreal Engine and use some modulation to give it so that every time I pull the trigger, there's a little bit of variation in the sound of the machine gun, so that it's not just the same droning sound over and over again. Because there are some variations in the way a weapon shoots. So we're going to try to emulate that by doing this. Now, this is certainly something you don't need to do, but if you're interested in trying to work with something like this, I just wanted to do a real quick demo using some free assets so that you can create your own mixtures of sounds and things like that. Because you can use Audacity to take any of those sounds, blend them together, and come up with some unique different sounds. So basically what I want to do is I want to come in here and cut this into about 0.4 of a second. I'm going to cut 3 0.4 of a second segments out of here. And if we take a look at the way the sound works, right here at the very beginning, this is the sound up. So I don't want to use that because as it loops, there's going to be kind of this weird clicking and dead sound right here at the very beginning. So I don't want to start there. I do want to try to get it at a point where if it loops around, it kind of makes sense in the sound. Like I said, I want it to be about 0.4 of a second long. So if I start here at 0.1 and go to 0.5, that will be kind of a good spot to start. And the way to do that really simply here is I can click on it up here, but I can also kind of play around with it down here at the start and end of selection buttons. So down here at the very bottom, you'll see that this is the start and this is the end of the selection. So if I were to click on this right here after the decimal point and put in 1 right there, you'll see that the line goes right to 0.1. And really what I'm looking at is 0.1, maybe 2. No, 0.1. I want it to be right there on that line. So maybe that's a 1. Yeah. So right there, 0.11. So right here, 0.11. And then I want to go out to this section right here just before the 5. It's not quite going to be full 0.4 of a second, but it'll be close enough. So this is like probably 0.4. So on here, on the second one down here after the decimal point, I'm going to click on that one and put 4 right there. And I actually want it to go just a little bit further to right about there. And again, I think that's 4.9 maybe. Nope, fat finger that in. All right, so a little bit further. So I'm just kind of playing around with the numbers just to see what works. And of course, you can always do this by clicking on it, but it kind of helps me just kind of sneak up on it and get into there. So right there, it's kind of a decent section for me. This is kind of what I'm looking for. I'm looking for this wave to start here and end here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just copy that. And then just click down here in the empty spot. And I'm going to paste it. Now I'm not going to put these end to end because, like I said, I'm going to use these as individual sounds. So I'm going to go ahead and repeat that same process again. Now this time I'm just going to pick something down over here, like maybe 0.55. So again, I'm going to start right here and make this like 0.5. And oops. Not what I wanted to do. I don't want to do it with this one. I want to select this one up here again. Make sure you have it selected right. So when you can click in here, you can select them. You see how they select. You can also select the selection button. There's also a mute and solo here as well. And we haven't actually played these sounds yet to hear what they sound like. So I'm going to go ahead and play that real quick for you. And you can see that 2 seconds it kind of drones on quite a bit. All right, so we go ahead and try this out again. So like I said, what I want to do is up here in this top section, I'm going to go ahead and somewhere around 0.55, it's probably going to be a little bit past that, 0.55, and it looks more like it's going to be 5.6. 5.7 works pretty well. So 0.57, and all this white area is what's still going to be played. The gray area is not being played right now. It won't be selected. So I'm going to go ahead and go another. Basically, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines here on the top. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to pick this one right after the 9. So like 0.95, I think that's going to be. So. Oh, that's nice. It changed all that up for me. Okay, let's try that again. It was 0.6. Like that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Nope, didn't quite go down far enough. That's okay. I'm going to go ahead and I think this was actually, I think we are actually on that side of it, but we're going to push this down a little bit further. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I want this fifth one right here. So that's going to put us at 1.2 maybe. Too far. Wrong 1.2. 1.02. Right, that'll work right there. Close enough. So again, now that I've got the kind of set up, I'm going to go ahead and select that. I'm going to edit, copy the selection, and then paste it down here. All right, and you can see there's a little bit of difference in length, and that's going to be okay. They're close enough. I'm going to do that one more time, but I'm going to go ahead and pause. You guys don't need to see me do this thing over and over again. And then once I get that set up, I'll turn this back on because we're going to try to keep this video a little bit shorter. Okay, so I went ahead and did that, and now I've got 3 different segments here. This one's a little bit longer. These two are very close in length, and that's okay. They're not that much difference in time. So what I want to do is this one right here, I'm done using it. I'm not going to alter it or anything. I don't want it to be part of this. I'm going to go ahead and close that out by hitting a little X right there. Now I've got these individual sounds. Now to export these so that they're exported as individuals instead of being combined, because if I export them now, they'll all be connected together and all combined into one. So what I want to do is I want these to be exported as individuals. So I'm going to mute, starting here, I'm going to mute these 2 bottom ones. And this one that's blue right here is the one that's going to be exported. And it's really simple. Just go to File, Export. And I want to export as an OGG. And I'm going to go ahead and give this a name. I'm just going to call this Machine Gun 01. Okay, I'm going to hit save. It's going to have this little window pop up right here. And this tells me that this was the person who put it together, which is true. It came from Sound Bible, and they pulled all that information in. One other thing I want to do that will help me out so that I can keep track of where I've got this from in the future if I want to reuse it or if I need to attribute it to somebody is, again, just pull up that site, and it was this one right here that I used. So right in here, sometimes they have a little link. They certainly do on Free Sound. This one doesn't seem to have that. This is Blast Wave FX, as it said. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy this link and then go back in, enter my comments, and paste it in there. There we go. So I know which one this was and where it came from. And I'm going to go ahead and say OK. And then what I did was I put this into a folder. So again, I'll just run through that real quick. I'm going to mute that top one, unmute the second one. I'm going to go ahead and file. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to export this one, export as an OGG. It's going to go into my Machine Guns, which is a sound file that I put together. And I'm going to change this one to Machine Gun 02. Again, it asks me if all this is still the same. It is. I'm going to say OK. And then do the process one more time. I'm going to export it, OGG. Make this 03. I'm going to save it. Everything's the same. I'm going to say OK. All right, so now they're all exported. So the next thing I need to do is move this out of my way, minimize it, leave it open just in case I need to come back to it. I'm going to find my file where I put those, and here they are right here. This is the original sound that I used. These are the ones that should now be set up as OGG files that we just created. Move that out of the way for a second. Down here in my content in Unreal Engine, create a folder for sounds, and then I'm going to go ahead and select these, drag them in, and drop them so that they'll import. All right, so now we have them here. I can click on it, and let me go ahead and activate that. You can hear the different sounds for them. Okay, there's not too much difference in them. They're pretty similar. You can tell that there's a little bit of different appearance in the waves, but that's going to be okay. This is what we want, is a little bit of variation. All right, so the next thing we need to do is inside this sounds folder, I'm also going to create, I'm going to right click, so right click down here, and we want to find sounds, and we're going to create a sound cue. Okay, and we're going to call this sound cue, I'm going to call this Bellica, I'll just call it rifle, just for sake of ease. Rifle, and I'm going to call it cue. Okay, so I know that it's a sound cue. So now I know what this one is. It's for my Bellica character. I'm going to double click on it. Let's go ahead and take a look real quick at it. We have our output, and now we need to set up so we can put our input into it. Okay, and it's real simple. Again, we could hunt around and try to find it, but the easiest thing to do is just to select the 3 that we want here. I'm going to drag these in. Make this big So now I can see where I have everything. I move it over here. These are my different sounds. Again, I said we want to make these looping. So I'm going to go ahead and select that. Okay. And now we've got those all looping. And I could, we can't plug them in directly the way they are. We could plug them in one at a time. So what we need to do is we need to also set it up because we want them to be random, right? We want it to come in at different sounds. We don't want to have number 1, then number 2, and number 3 play all the time. We want it to be random. So pretty simple. We can either right click here. We can also click and drag and pull in random over here. And that is not the random I wanted. Actually, that would have worked. That's all right. So we'll go ahead and I'm going to right click and type in random. And I want random multiple waves anyway. So random multiple waves, and it already did the work for me, except the thing it didn't do was it didn't make these looping. So if you select the random multiple wave, it'll say, oh, you want these 3. It'll do it for you. You could have also pulled in random here, and then you can just add input buttons. So we would have had our same 3 input buttons, the same we did here. So either way works. And then we can plug this output straight in. And now if I were to hit this play Q button, it's going to randomly go through these, although it doesn't seem very random at this point, but it is over a period of time. All right, so the next thing we want to do is we also want to have a kind of a modulation to change the way the sound works on this. So I'm going to select these, move them over, and I'm going to pull this modulator in here, and I'm going to plug this in here and plug the output into there. And with this modulation, we can make some different pitch adjustments. You can make the pitch minimum and maximum identical, so if you wanted to be at 0.95 on both of these so that the sound is the same, but it has some slight change in volume, because you can see we're also adjusting the volume min and max as well. So you can kind of play around with these numbers. Right now, with it just at default, if I hit play button, it's got some significant changes in the way that the, go ahead and make it so you can hear that, make it so that these change just a little bit. It's a little bit more than I want it to be. So what I'm going to do is I am going to put this down to just 1 right there. And now let's go ahead and hit the play button. And all ready to go. Pretty happy with that. I think it's going to work okay. So that is it for this video. It ran a little bit longer than I wanted it to be because of the Audacity stuff, but the actual setting up the sound in here works pretty well. Now we probably will go back into that machine gun sound one more time and pull at the very end. There was kind of this kind of a single kind of ricochet kind of sound at the end. We're probably going to pull that off at some point, but that'll be in the future as we get the sound set up to play in concert with our machine gun, so that basically there is this sound of this machine gun firing, and then at the very end we kind of have this like a last bullet sound coming out of the barrel of the gun, instead of it just sort of abruptly stopping from the machine gun sound to nothing. But we'll conquer that when we get to it. That's it for this video. Again, thank you for watching. If you want to get caught up on some of the other videos that I have out there, please visit my YouTube channel, Paul Fritz Animation. You can learn some stuff about Maya, do a little bit of 3D modeling in there, have some more stuff in Unity in the near future, and of course quite a few videos on Unreal Engine. Again, thank you, and I'll see you next time.